The secret nuclear accident. Worse than Chernobyl, that was covered up. What if I told you that the worst nuclear disaster in history wasn't Chernobyl? It's a disaster so shocking, it was covered up by the Soviet Union. A catastrophic event that radiated entire regions and devastated thousands of lives. And yet the world never knew the full story. In this video, we'll uncover the Kyshtym disaster, a nuclear accident that could have ended the world. Let's explore what really happened. It was 1957 in the Soviet Union, during the height of the Cold War. The world was already on edge, with the arms race and nuclear fears mounting. But deep in the Ural Mountains, far from prying eyes, something was about to happen that would make Chernobyl look like a small mistake. The Mayak nuclear facility, hidden in plain sight, was Soviet Russia's primary nuclear weapons plant. Here, they manufactured plutonium for the Soviet Union's nuclear arsenal. But dangerously poor safety practices and extreme secrecy would lead to one of the most deadly nuclear accidents of all time. The disaster that was so devastating that it would be classified for decades. On September 29, 1957, something went terribly wrong. A massive explosion ripped through a storage tank filled with radioactive waste at the facility. The explosion caused a toxic cloud of radiation to pour out into the surrounding environment. The effects were immediate. The workers at Mayak were exposed to lethal doses of radiation, but that was just the beginning. The explosion sent a radioactive cloud drifting over the surrounding areas, poisoning everything in its path. Over 270,000 people would later be exposed to high doses of radiation. The Soviet government immediately went into damage control mode, but the cover-up had begun. No public warnings were issued, no evacuations were ordered. In fact, most people in the area weren't even told what had happened. Even when they started to feel the effects, the surrounding areas became a radioactive wasteland. Farmers reported mutated crops, livestock dropping dead, and mysterious illnesses affecting locals. Yet, the government denied any connection to the explosion. It wasn't until decades later that the full extent of the disaster was revealed to the public. Why wasn't the world told about this disaster? Because the Soviet Union wasn't interested in taking responsibility. They were more concerned about keeping up the Cold War facade, showing the world they were powerful, invincible, and willing to go to any length to protect their secrets, even if it meant sacrificing their own citizens. After the explosion, the government initially forced the workers involved to stay silent. Some were even sent to work at another nuclear facility while still contaminated with radiation. But it wasn't just the immediate casualties that caused the problem. The radiation from the Kyshtym disaster would continue to affect generations. Cancer rates soared, and people living in the surrounding areas suffered from severe health problems for decades. It wasn't until the 1970s, when defectors from the Soviet Union began to speak out, that the Kyshtym disaster began to surface. But even then, the true scale of the tragedy remained a secret for many years. The world knew about Chernobyl, but this disaster, this ticking time bomb in the heart of Russia, remained locked away in Soviet archives. The Kyshtym disaster remained a symbol of the Soviet regime's reckless pursuit of nuclear power and military might at the expense of its own people. And while we all know about Chernobyl, the true story behind Kyshtym was hidden, overshadowed by other historical events. But now, thanks to brave whistleblowers and declassified documents, the world can finally know the truth about this catastrophic event. So the next time someone mentions Chernobyl as the most devastating nuclear disaster, remember, it was the Kyshtym disaster that nearly brought down the Soviet Union and had a far worse impact on the environment. The world was kept in the dark until now. If you think this is a shocking story, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more Untold history, and hit the bell for notifications. What do you think? Should the Kyshtym disaster be remembered as the worst nuclear accident? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.